made up my mind.
Welcome back to Senior World Radio. Jim, that show is really great. We had Miles and Leroy in here talking about security and protection, safes, and all of that, particularly in light of all the fires.
But, and it leads us right into the next segment.
It really does, because we've got Paul Conrady here. Paul is with Edmunds Security, Inc., but more interestingly for our listeners today, he has developed a website called Crimeseen, and that is spelled S-E-E-N. If you go to the other spelling of scene, you're going to get some kind of a commercial site, but Crimeseen.com is a free website that will help you protect yourself and your neighbors from the bad guys. Paul, welcome to the show. Good to have you with me this morning.
Thanks, Glenn. Thanks for having me.
What I want to do today, though, something a little bit different. I would like for you, as our listeners, to go to your computer, log on, and go with us to this website. And Paul's going to lead you through it, give you some idea of how this thing works, how you can have cameras that not only take pictures of the bad guys around your house, but even at your neighbors' houses, and then be able to put these pictures on the website so neighbors can help you solve problems. Jim, I think the fact is we can no longer rely on the police to solve all of our problems.
I'm not sure we could as far as the time factor is concerned.
Well, the police, really, their official job is to protect society, not to protect the individual.
Exactly.
And so that's why I think what Paul's doing here is just so tremendous. So if you will, get your computer and log on to the website called Crimeseen. That's all one word, CRIMESEEN.com. Some of you may have seen there was a nice coverage on this program here this past week on Channel 9 on television. And so this is an opportunity for you to see how this program works. So if you will, log on to Crimeseen, SEEN.com. And Paul, what will they find?
Well, Glenn, 30-plus years in the security electronics industry, I've accumulated several crime videos, a lot of them made TV. We had probably 10 of them on TV, and with that coverage, we got 2 of them solved. 8 of them we never got a phone call on. The police have solved a couple out of that 50 videos because they knew the person in the video, because they'd had prior contact with them. But a lot of those videos, Glenn, went straight into a file. How are we going to solve a crime if the video, the good video that we have, goes straight into a file and it's not available for all of us to see and help the police get tips on that crime? That's what Crimeseen's all about, is let's share the information in a very local way. We don't want to see what's going on in San Bernardino, California. Right. We only care about what happens in our neighborhood.
In our neighborhood, mm-hmm. Right.
So when you go onto the site, when you first log in, we're asking for a handle and a password. And then there's a CAPTCHA so that we can keep the robots off of our site. Once you've established your handle and your password and you do the CAPTCHA, it's going to put you into what we refer to as a dashboard. Gives you lots of capability, creating reports. You're able to form groups. You're able to make posters. You've got a lot of things that you can do at that point. But when you first hit the dashboard, what's important is that you establish an address. You can put your physical address in. It's not seen by anybody. The only reason we ask for an address is so that we can determine where you are. Once you establish the address, and you can also drop right below the address bar, and you can drop a pin on a Google map. Then there is no address. It's going to be a Latin long. We just need one or the other. So once you establish your location, below that you're going to find your patrol radius. And it's looking for a number in miles that you wish to participate.
So you can set that, let's say 3 miles or 5 miles or even as little as a mile?
Yes, but, if we have a lot of people that say, I just care about what goes on in my neighborhood.
Right.
Well, if you limit yourself to that, it's those guys across the street that have done crimes across the street that will eventually be in your neighborhood.
That's true.
So we really need to expand that. And remember, this is all editable. So if you started out with a 25-mile radius, you get the feeling of how Crimeseen works, how the the reports are delivered to you via email with a clickable link that takes you straight to the crime, then you understand that you're not going to get inundated with activity. The only correspondence you'll ever see from Crime Scene is when someone files a report and you're in that report area. And so when you receive that email, you click on a link, and now you're viewing the report that's been filed.
Jim, we have a lot of neighborhood watch where we're all kind of looking out for each other. This goes one step further then, and you're actually having cameras in the home. Or I liked what Paul told me here a while back, one for the road, where you have one camera pointed out to the street in front of you. You're getting pictures. If something happens in your neighborhood and it is caught on camera, then you can put it on Crime Scene and actually broadcast that to your whole neighborhood, to this 5, 10, 15, or 25-mile radius, so that your neighbors can see it. And, Paul, I understand sometimes you discover that it is people down the street or neighbors or somebody you would never suspect if you hadn't seen them do it on the camera.
About 10 days ago on a newscast, we do camera systems. My business does camera systems for the entire Edmond School District. And a person that was a victim lost a trailer full of lawn mowing equipment. And he walks out into his driveway, and he's looking around with his arms up in the air going, "What happened to my trailer?" And as he's turning around, he sees a camera on one of the schools that we do. He went over and discussed with the principal, "Hey, I had an event. Can we look at your video and see what may have been seen?" They run the video back, and sure enough, it was his neighbor's landlord backed up to the trailer, hitched it up, and drove away. He recognized the car. The police went and had a discussion with this gentleman. At first, he denied it, and they showed him the video.
It's hard to deny it when you're caught on camera.
Put his arms out and said, "Here, take me.
Yeah.
I'm guilty." So that is how we use One for the Road. It's all voluntary. It's a public crime-fighting network. And if you come home to your business, to your home, and you see that you've been a victim, simply go to One for the Road, view the cameras in your area. There's several ways to get there through a search criteria. View the cameras in your area, and if you're a member, you're able to view that camera. And a lot of our members we try to get them to post a snapshot of what they actually are recording, because we want you to have an understanding that you would not be able to see your motorcycle go past that camera, or you would be able to see your trailer being hauled past that camera. So that's the first criteria that makes somebody want to contact that person, or if they're not going to get any information because of the camera view, they may not contact them. And so that way you're not getting, again, inundated with stuff.
So if a person logs on to Crime Scene, and again, let's emphasize that is spelled SEEN, Crimeseen.com, what will they see?
Well, what we want them to see are the bad guys. And when they are a member, I have a lot of people tell me, "Yeah, I've been on your site. I've signed up. I've gone and looked at it." Well, you don't get anything about by looking at it, because, number one, who has the time to go look at somebody's website? What makes this so critical and what makes it so unique and so usable is when you sign up, you're being notified of that crime minutes after somebody posts a report. If they come, in fact, one of our crimes on there, if you go to the recently solved, there's one that has a big white light in the middle of the video frame. That gentleman woke up in the morning, saw his garage door open. He noticed things missing out of his garage. He walks right back into his house, looks at the video, sees 3 kids that emptied out his garage. He posted it on Crime Scene at 8 o'clock, drove to work, and when he arrived at work, 3 of his neighbors had already responded with the kids' names. So he went back to their house, retrieved his stuff, and we moved it to the solved column in 3 hours. So that is the power of the internet. That's the power of people in your neighborhood being involved, and that's how quick you can get your things returned.
Paul, I would think, too, that we don't want to limit this to just crime scene. This is an actual neighborhood look at anything that's going on out there, whether it's someone with a medical problem, someone that's got a problem with a damaged or any kind of event that's there in that neighborhood. and you can back it up and take a look
It's
at it.
eyes on your neighborhood,
Eyes on your
24 hours a
neighborhood,
day,
yeah,
7
sure
days
is.
a week. I'm Glen Howard, Senior World Radio, visiting with Paul Conradi this morning with the Edmunds Security, Inc. We've got to take another break, but I'll tell you what, while we're on this break, be sure and get on the computer, log on to Crime Scene. That's Crimeseen, SEEN.com. And while we're talking about it, check into it, log on, find out how you can watch what's going on in your neighborhood and protect yourself. We'll be right back.